Now, Greta Thunberg has become a leading voice for action on climate change and a role model to young people around the world.
Well, tomorrow, the teenage activist will take to the streets of Bristol to join thousands of students as they protest for greater awareness around climate change. And two teenagers who will be there with their banners are 17-year-old Millie Sibson and Lily Fitzgibbon. Welcome to both.
Welcome, girls.
Lovely
Welcome,
to see you. Thank you for coming in today. You both met because you share this common goal, didn't you? Where did you meet?
So we actually met at the first meeting that I attended. So I joined about a month after Lily did, and at that first meeting I saw Lily. I'd seen her at the climate strikes beforehand, and I think she did a speech at the one which I was inspired to join the group, but that's when we first met. And
so the meeting, this is Youth Strike for Climate Change.
Yeah.
So just explain a little bit about them for any of our viewers that don't know.
Well, so we strike monthly in Bristol, and we have a series of national demands and local demands.
Okay.
And we met at an organising meeting, and we meet weekly to sort of prepare for the upcoming strike.
And all taking a day off school.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel about taking the day off, and how do they feel about you taking the day off?
There's in last school. So us personally, it's more we've got to think about our futures, and the climate is something that is deteriorating even as we speak. And even though we're not noticing it right now in Bristol in the UK, I mean some places in the UK are noticing it with the flooding, but places like Kiribati, Israel, they're all seeing the effects of climate change right now. And so for us, we're thinking about the rest of the world in the future. So the fact that we're missing a day of school, which we can catch up on our lessons, and it really feels like it's for the bigger picture. And
Are they happy with it? Are the schools supportive?
They're as supportive as they can be. Obviously, they're not always allowed to authorise our absences, but, you know, if your parent gets in contact, they are allowed to take you out of school. And I think it really helps that both of us do keep on top of our schoolwork. We catch up.
Yeah.
We're both going to university soon, and we do want to succeed educationally as well. We
Yes.
just think that this is more important.
So I think as individuals, we all have to do our bit. We have to play our role. That's so important. But it's sort of that next step, isn't it? Getting involved in activism and going out there. So why take that next step?
I think because it gives you that voice that you feel like you don't have when you're on the sidelines. If you're just watching from the outside and you see these people, and it's that feeling of helplessness when you don't know what you can actually do. Activism gives you kind of that opening, that way of that you can get your voice heard in a place where you wouldn't think that you could normally do it.
Explain this banner behind you here.
So this is what it says on Greta Thunberg's
This was
sign
in
that she
2018,
carries.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
The big one that she had.
So she carries this sign, which is School Strike for Climate in Swedish. And so we decided, we had a lot of debate over what was going to be on the front of our banner. And we had a previous one, which was Stop the Bristol Airport Expansion.
Yeah.
We've now achieved that goal.
Yeah.
It was voted down last month that it's no longer expanding, so we get to move on now to other
So it
issues.
works.
How many of you carry it?
It needs
10?
about 10 people
Yeah.
on it on the day, and they were spread out.
Coordinated, I would have thought.
Yes, we don't usually hold the banner. We're often at the front telling people to slow down as they're walking because we have a samba band right behind them.
Right.
And so you said about Bristol Airport there, and you said you achieved that. I mean, what else are you hoping to achieve? Education in schools is a big one for you, isn't it?
So that's one of the Teach the Future demands that UKSCN, which is the climate network for the UK, have, is reforming the national curriculum to make climate change on the agenda. And then there's three others. One of them is to save the future, and then we've got, which is demanding like a climate emergency, announcing it, and then also implementing the Green New Deal. Do you want to explain the other two?
Yeah, and the other two are Tell the Future and Empower the Future. So Tell the Future is about the government effectively communicating the severity of the crisis that we're in to the general public through their use of media and how important it is to act now. That's what we want them to lead the way on. But Empower the Future is about making sure that young people have a voice in policy making, and included in that demand is lowering the voting age to 16.
I have the greatest admiration for you guys, and this is a growing number of certainly your generation, hopefully spreading through every generation of people who are like-minded. But do you think we're taking adequate steps forward? I mean, I look at the, you know, you do the weekly shop and look how much unnecessary plastic is in the weekly shop, and unless big businesses fully get behind you, because they can token get behind you, but fully get behind you, surely all is lost.
Yeah, exactly. You can always have these big corporations that put pressures on the consumers to make changes in their lives, but individually we need systemic change, we need to have it like as a top-down approach. So we need to have things put in place so it makes it easier for consumers to make these informed decisions, because it ultimately it is a privilege, you know, to be able to make these decisions, spend a little bit more money on having like sustainable makeup wipes, and if we can kind of have these things that makes it more accessible to everyone,
Yes,
it's so much
make it
more.
I watched a documentary the other night. It was a supermarket that had decided that they would go completely plastic-free. And a lot of the consumers just said, well, I don't like it, I'm going to go somewhere else. And unless you're forced into it, unless they all say, right, OK, as from this day on such and such a day, this is how you have to buy your food. Like the old days when you go down the greengrocers and it was all put in a paper bag. Unless we're forced into doing it, people won't choose it.
Yes, and so often that option is a harder one for people, and it's about removing the easy way out, I think, in some cases, and also just making it as accessible as possible to be green or be sustainable.
Yeah.
Greta is a global figure now. She's coming to Bristol. And Lily, was it you that spoke to her on Skype?
Yes. So
how did that happen and what was it like?
Well, she actually got in contact with me directly at first, and then her team did.
Yeah.
But so she knew she was coming to the UK, and she'd been in contact with the group in London, but they really unfortunately didn't have the capacity to organise a strike for her in 8 days.
Right.
So she then got my number from then and texted me last Thursday, and we have been working around the clock ever since, because obviously normally you have a month for these things.
And it happens so quickly. So she's, I mean, she is a bit of a hero to many, especially you girls doing what you do. So did she live, and people said, don't meet your heroes, did she live up to your expectations?
I think she really did. She seems so humble and so, another word for humble, not full of herself. She's doing this for the message. It's not about ego at all. She has no interest in the press. She has no interest in being this leader. She is a figurehead for our movement, but that's really just because we find her inspirational. I think she wants to be a striker like anyone else.
She, I mean, it's a real coup to have her with you, to have her in Bristol.
Yeah, we were quite excited. It's kind of, it promotes this whole idea of more regional diversity for the UK, because a lot of stuff we find happens in London. To have something happen outside of London is really exciting. And I mean, obviously it doesn't have all the travel linkages as London does, but we're able to get, some companies are providing coaches for people to travel from all around the UK just to come see her.
This is a peaceful protest.
Yes.
Definitely.
Do you work hand in hand with Extinction Rebellion?
No.
No, we're
a completely separate organisation.
We do receive their support. Our samba band is an Extinction Rebellion samba band, but for the climate strikes, the youth climate strikes, instead of chanting Extinction Rebellion, they chant climate justice, and we
ask them to remove their logos, and
so it's more of like we obviously share the same goal and we have the same message, but it's kind of like we want young people to know that like this is more of a safe space. You can say your views and opinions, and it's like...
But it's peaceful.
Yeah, we work so closely with the police as well to make it as safe as possible, because as young people, it's much harder for us to be arrestable in the way that a lot of Extinction Rebellion people have the privilege of being so. You know, we have universities, we have futures that we want to be able to go on to, and having that on your record can sometimes hold you back.
Yeah. Well, girls, it's really lovely to meet both of you. I hope it goes peacefully.
Thank you.
And how you want it to be.
And well done.
Yeah, well done. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.